This is Yuto Horigome in the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, about to win gold in men's street for the very first time. Since then, Japan has dominated Olympic skateboarding, winning 9 total medals, 5 of which are gold. Unbeknownst to the world, Japan's skateboarding debut in the Olympics was the start of something much bigger. Due to the physical environment and how Japan has urbanized around it, Japan has had a different history of skateboarding than other skate powerhouses like the US and Brazil. This is Neil Neeson, a journalist for World Skate who founded Kingpin magazine in the UK and worked for Red Bull for 12 years. He sat down with me to give me some insight into the rise of Japanese skateboarding.
If you look at the earliest iterations of skateboarding in the kind of sprawl of cities like Los Angeles that were beginning to head out into the suburbs, there's so little traffic around there that the physical possibilities of skateboarding were growing with the suburban sprawl. But in a nation like Japan, that can't be the case because there's a limited amount of space. The design and construction of buildings and so on is the architecture is ever, you could describe it as being defensive. The trick editing is very clipped. The movement is very precise. There's very little carving and things like that. So the nature of the activity itself is being shaped by the geography and architecture which surrounds it, and in an aesthetic that is partly due to the confines of the space. I mean, there's the cultural resistance to the equivalency of vandalism that might be perceived in street skateboarding, which is one aspect of it, but also there aren't that many wide open downtown spaces and plazas and so on, a densely populated nation that would allow for the evolution of skateboarding in that manner.
Since the city spaces are so dense, a need for skate parks arose in the 2010s. Thanks to a push from young advocacy groups like the skate collective Voices of Freedom and a strong effort by local municipal governments, in 2017 there were already over 100 skate parks in Japan spanning from Hokkaido to Okinawa. To understand the physical impact of the young skaters who took home the gold, as of 2025, 504 outdoor skate parks and 24 indoor facilities are available to the public.
Skateboarding didn't evolve to where it is because people were out in the streets all the time. It took skate parks in order for people to train flip tricks on the rails and all the rest of it.
It's important to note that the skate park boom is not only affecting the metropolitan areas in Japan. Mikasa, a town northeast of Sapporo, has a thriving skate scene, with a legendary spot called the Death Bowl that has been featured in Thrasher magazine. Japanese skateboarding collectives will visit sites like these to gain more influence over the scene via video creation and social media. The previously mentioned collective, Voices of Freedom, is a magazine and blog that has gone to parks and cities all over Japan to create videos, conduct interviews, and skate in competitions. The popularity of skateboarding doesn't stop there. Local governments are embracing the sport by creating after-school programs and dedicated skateboarding institutions around the country. The bottom-up strategy that Japan is using to foster this talent is no coincidence and will lead to a strong foundation for the sport in the near future. Along with growth in popularity, Japan is rapidly emerging as a significant growth engine for the skateboard deck market. According to a Grand View Horizon market report from 2025, the skateboard deck market itself is trending upward. With an expected compound annual growth rate of 3.1% and a generated revenue of 186 million USD in 2025, the generated revenue in 2033 is expected to reach 240 million. All of this goes to show that Japan and its talent have treated skateboarding with the utmost respect when viewing it as a sport. This is not only seen within the spread of skateboarding itself, but with the competitive success that Japan has achieved. In the first quarter of 2026, male Japanese skaters occupy 7 out of the top 20 positions in the world skateboarding ranking, while female Japanese skaters occupy 8 out of the top 20 positions, making it clear that Japan is dominating skateboarding competitions on a world stage. When summarizing the current state of Japanese skateboarding, Neil Neeson put it best.
Skateboarding in Japan is wholesome and a worthwhile thing to do with discipline and craft, and which isn't to say that they're robots, which isn't to say that they're not expressive, but they're not running around trying to look for the rebel pose of it all at the same time. And so, is that an example of a moment of revolution repackaged and sold back as style? Yes, it is, but it's the reason why skateboarding in Japan is in a healthier place.
While skateboarding in Japan is in a healthy spot, there's more to the story on why the country has its sights set on it. In 2025, World Skate, the international governing body for skateboarding, unveiled a 6-year agreement with Japan to bring the Urban World Cup and World Skate Tour to Sakai Machi, a small historic town with a population of about 25,000 people, most of whom are above the age of 60. In Sakai Mayor Mr. Hashimoto's words, urban sports are not only existing as competitive sports, but are very important tools for us to vitalize the region, increasing non-residential visitors and promoting immigration and settlement. We will try our best together with our leaders and World Skate to deliver the events and promote urban sports so that the town of Sakai will become the base of urban sports, which we will proudly open up to the world.
Whenever people start leveraging it as action sports destinations, they will have a demographic all of their own.
With this type of support, Japan is launching an initiative that goes beyond what we have seen thus far. This move to bring the Urban World Cup and World Skate Tour could usher in an X Games-like era for the sport, which hasn't been seen since the 90s. Much like Japan's investments in animation, robotics, and video game systems, this endeavor into action sports infrastructure is another example of how Japan embraces modernity, subverting expectations to redefine what skateboarding is.